Welcome back to another episode of Abnormal Reality. I'm going to focus this one purely on who's really running the show. I always knew a little bit about the Jesuits, but just Zach Hubbard turned me on to the gematria of the Jesuits, how they control it. But even without gematria, without the numerology stuff, you don't even need that to prove the Jesuits are running the show. The Jesuits have been in Washington, D.C. longer than this nation's even been a country. What are Andrew Cuomo, Gavin Newsom, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and Dr. Fauci all have in common? They're all Jesuit educated. Even Trump's kids, two of Trump's kids are Jesuit educated at Georgetown. So they're all Jesuit educated. They're all the major faces. They're all the first faces you think of when you think of COVID-19 this year. They're in the news all year long. They're all from Jesuit universities, Jesuit educated. The Jesuit founder, Ignatius of Loyola, his saying, one of his famous quotes is, "Go forth and set the world on fire." As we can see, they surely love to do that. We have the first openly Jesuit Pope. Pope Francis is the first openly Jesuit Pope. Now, what is a Jesuit? A Jesuit is like the military order of the Vatican. They're like the CIA of the Vatican. So it's like the intelligence wing of the Vatican, the military order of the Vatican, so it's just, there's so many, people, like I said in my first podcast here, the Catholic Church is playing possum. They're playing like they're weaker than ever. They're not. They're absolutely not. They're using art of war tactics. Okay? Hey, guess who translated art of war? A Jesuit. A Jesuit translated the art of war into English. So, it's just like Jesuits got their fingers everywhere, man. They globally operate in 112 countries. They got universities and schools all over the globe. Same with the Catholic Church. They go hand in hand. Jesuits is Catholic. The other thing with the Jesuits, I know a lot of the conspiracy world goes to Zionist. They blame the Masons. They blame the Council on Foreign Relations. All these other things. Those are tentacles of the Vatican, of the Jesuit order. Okay, the Scottish Rite, there's certain types of Freemasonry. The Scottish Rite Freemasonry is really the ones who are involved in these deeper conspiracies. And even then, it's probably like the top 5-10% of them. It's not all of them. There's a lot of Masons in the world. They're not all in on the conspiracy. Everything's on a need-to-know basis, military style. Military people should know that more than anybody. You only need to know what you need to know. So the whole operation isn't compromised when a low-level person gets caught. That's just basic military tactics 101. So these people operate all around the globe. So they're everywhere. They have unlimited finances. They've had unlimited power. They bring in this. They got the Vatican hides all this occult knowledge. They got all this occult knowledge from the Knights Templar and the Crusades when they went around the world gathering all this secret stuff. Where did we get most of our history from? Most world history comes from the Vatican. It comes from Vatican archives, because that's all we have. Because the Roman Catholic Church dominated this fucking planet with the scumbags they are. They've been dominating this planet for a fucking century. Fucking 2 centuries. They took over the other religions. They adapted their stories to fit. All these things we celebrate are ancient Druid holidays, ancient pagan holidays, and the Vatican, the church came in and started calling them their own fucking holidays. Easter comes from Istar, Christmas, the winter solstice around Christmas, that's a time for rituals of death and sacrifice. So of course they have Jesus resurrecting from the dead 3-4 days after the winter solstice. Jesus is the Son of God. He shines his light on all of us. But I don't want to dive too deep into that. The Jesuits are called the Society of Jesus. Okay, their logo is a sun with 32 rays on it. So sun worship is the original worship. Jesus is the Son of God. God would be the universe. The Son of God would be the star that we all live off. Right here, shining bright today. That's why I got these glasses on. The Jesuit order, the Society of Jesus, they call themselves. These people run the world. They have They have a general. You know, why does a religious order need a general, a superior general? The Jesuits is what's called. You might have heard of the Black Pope. The Black Pope is like the Jesuit leader, basically. I got a bug on my window. Yeah, the Black Pope's like the leader of the Jesuits. They have a superior general, they call him. You know, again, why does a religious order need a superior general? You know, they consider themselves a military organization, an intelligence organization for the Vatican. So again, the Vatican is the tip of the spear. These other, like Zionism, the Zionists, who the Vatican Jesuits funded both sides of World War II. There's a great book on that subject. The Jesuits funded both sides of World War II. They basically made World War II happen. And what was the end goal of World War II? They recreated Israel for the Zionist movement. They gave Israel back to the Zionist movement. And you know, even in the I'm not a big Bible pumper, but there's some truths in the Bible. One of my favorite is "There's nothing new under the sun." That's why we constantly watch history repeat. But another quote is about, you know, in the apocalyptic times, the end times, whatever you want to call it, there will be those who call themselves Jews who are not, the false Jews, the synagogue of Satan. You know, we're dealing with Zionism. To be a Zionist, you don't necessarily have to be Jewish. These people are the false Jews. But Zionism is just, like I said, another tentacle of the Vatican. The Vatican funded both sides of World War II, and they got Israel recreated for the Zionists. So the Zionists are just another people who think like the Zionists are the top of the spear. I mean, they're close. They're up there. You know, it's another tentacle, but they're not the end all be all. I honestly think the Jesuits, the Vatican itself, is the end all be all. Like I said, we got the first openly Jesuit Pope right now with Pope Francis. I forgot Bill Gates, another guy you think of when you think of COVID-19. How does Bill Gates tie with the Jesuits? You can look this up. Bill Gates is opening Jesuit schools. He's opening more Jesuit schools. His wife comes from a Jesuit family, and Bill Gates is actively dumping money to open up Jesuit schools across the nation. And okay, so I just made my point without gematria of how the Jesuits are running the show. All these people are somehow connected to Jesuits, right? So let's add some gematria. I'm not even going to use the 56. You could make hours of videos with the number 56 in these Jesuits. One good example is Andrew Cuomo. No, I'm sorry, Gavin Newsom out in California, talking about 56% of California will get coronavirus within 8 weeks. 8 weeks is exactly 56 days. So, 56 is a big number with the Jesuits, but 201 is the biggest number with the Jesuits. So there's a story going back to Queen Elizabeth about Queen Elizabeth of Russia saved 201 Jesuits from being executed. The founder of Jesuits in Gematria, his name equals 201. The current Pope right now, his full name equals 201. We got Bill Gates with Event 201, which I talked about in the first video, the virus simulation. He called it Event 201. These numbers aren't arbitrary. They use these numbers on purpose, like I stated in the first video. So Event 201. We have the UN with Agenda 21. One of the heads they want for the UN, one of these new heads, his name also equals 201. We have like I said, so Pope Francis's full name equals 201, right? But get this, Pope Francis is so humble and so just down to earth that he couldn't live in the major Pope suite. So he put himself, there's a story that came out of the Vatican, he put himself in suite 201. So he lives in a humble, small room that ended up being number 201. And like I said, with the UN Agenda 21, in numerology, you drop the 0. So the 201 is the same as 21. So you have Agenda 21. We're coming into 2021, and all these agendas are being shoved down our throats. The vaccinations, the vaccines, the total control over every aspect of our lives, the contact tracing, the furthering of surveillance as if we weren't surveilled enough after 9/11. So it's just, but I didn't even need the 201 stuff to prove the point that the Jesuits are goddamn everywhere. The Jesuits are everywhere. Like I said, they operate in 112 countries. They got 20-something universities across this country, and it just so happens all these major players in the COVID-19 shit, all these major people are connected to Jesuits. They all went to Jesuit universities, every one of them. So it's all there. The dots are there. It's out in the open. It's in your face. They hide it in plain sight. It's the best way to hide something, right? They hide it within their symbols. Also, great quote I heard on symbols the other day was, if a picture's worth 1,000 words, a symbol's worth 1,000 pictures. So symbols are powerful things. I'm a big believer in them for sure. But yeah, man, the Jesuit order, the CIA, the Vatican, they're running the show. They're running the ship. All these other things are just offsprings of them. Even the mafia and the Vatican are closely connected. The Vatican's got their own banks. And these people are accountable to nobody. The Vatican operates in their own city-state. They're not accountable to anybody. Washington, D.C. is its own city-state. It's not truly accountable to the American people. That's why they can get away with all the shit they get away with. Because they operate out of D.C., which is its own independent city-state, which is like a small nation. Washington, D.C. is its own small nation. The Vatican is its own small nation. Even London City, which I talked about in my first video. London City, though, the economic center, is its own small nation. So it's like the holy trinity of control. The financial control is out of London City, the religious control is out of the Vatican, and the military control and the control of the United States, the most quote-unquote most powerful nation on the planet, is out of Washington, D.C. These are all independently operated city-states that don't have to abide by the regular laws and rules of the rest of the country. And these are the people pulling the strings. And like I said, Jesuits have been in Washington, D.C. longer than before Washington, D.C. was even established. So these people are everywhere. They've been everywhere. The major quote from their founder, "Go forth and set the world on fire." I mean, it's just so in your face, man. And that's what these people do. They go forth and they set the fucking world on fire. I mean, sometimes literally California, Australia at the beginning of this year, the forest fires, they got this, they control the military out of Washington, D.C. The military's been doing weather control openly. They admit they were causing monsoons back in Vietnam. You can look that up, easily Googled. They're causing monsoons back in Vietnam. What do you think they can do 60 years later with that same technology? If you can create a monsoon back in the 1960s, what can you do in 2020? So it's like, people who still think weather control is some grand conspiracy just don't know enough about history. And I don't want to say these people are retarded or morons. They're just ignorant to the facts, or haven't been taught it, or refuse to learn. They refuse to learn. They refuse to keep an open mind and learn from these things, learn from these mistakes that we keep making as a species over and over, and letting these same scumbags rule the planet. So, I don't want to be the Debbie Downer. So there are solutions, Share this information. Even if it's not from me, go to Zach Hubbard, share his information. There's other people out in the community sharing the same information. Share it, Share it, absorb it. Share it with friends and family on a word-to-word basis when you talk to people. This is it, man. This is the information I've been looking for years and years. Like, who is the tip of the spear? Is it the Masons? Is it the Jesuits? I mean, is it the Zionists? I mean, they're all everywhere. They all operate globally. But it's the Jesuits. It's the Jesuits, and the Jesuits run Russia. They own Russia. Russia's hugely owned by the Catholic Church. They're very conservative and run by the Roman Catholic Church runs Russia. Jesuits in China, these people have their fingers everywhere. Catholicism's everywhere. And, there's other conspiracies within Islam and like I said, the Zionists with Judaism, which are the three main religions. And, Islam's got its own thing going on, but, they troll us with that shit too. Muslims are the evilest people on the planet. Dude, there's 2 billion Muslims. If they wanted to kill everybody, they would have. So, it's just propaganda from the church. They want this holy war to be started. They did start the holy war back in the 2000s. We're just blowing up Iraq and Afghanistan. I mean, these are the places where civilization started. Do you know how much ancient knowledge and stuff is there that we just blew to smithereens with your tax dollars? I mean, we've lost ancient history through these wars. I mean, they're hiding something. I mean, I think that's part of the reason they went to these places to bomb the shit out of them. Because the internet was getting big, and this true knowledge of our origin and our species would be coming out. They got us stuck in amnesia. They control the history. Like I said, a lot of history comes out of the Vatican. The Vatican controls a lot of things. A lot of these universities people go to, are run by the Catholic Church, or they're either Catholic schools or Jesuit schools. A lot of the major universities, BC, Boston College, it's a Jesuit school. A funny story about Matt Ryan. I was talking about the 201s. Matt Ryan's 201st football game. His 201st NFL game. Matt Ryan, BC, Jesuit educated. his 201st game, they put a stat on the screen talking about Matt Ryan, Tom Brady, and Peyton Manning have thrown for enough yards to run around this is his 201st game. They put the stat on the screen. They've thrown for enough yards in the NFL to go around the lap around the field 201 times, and they didn't mention it was his 201st game. But it's just like they troll us with these numbers. They're not arbitrary. They're not arbitrary at all. The other thing is, last thing I want to think about the Jesuits before I end this one. It's going to be kind of a shorter one. I just wanted to make a quick podcast on who is running the show, who is pulling these strings, who are the scumbags really behind the curtain. You know, who's the man behind the curtain? Who's the group behind the curtain? It's the Jesuit order. It's the Vatican. It's the Vatican. You know, they get away with pedophilia. They get away with laundering schemes, Ponzi schemes, financial schemes, trafficking kids. I mean, they get away with everything. The old Pope was accused of pedophilia. He stepped down. He lives in the Vatican, rent-free, scot-free, no jail time. You know, the victims probably got paid from the Vatican's fucking laundering money funds. And like I said, they're accountable to nobody. Those funds, the money, the banks, all the information in the vaults, nobody has access to them unless you're part of the fucking Vatican. You know? So if people want to storm Area 51, we should be storming the fucking Vatican, man, and throwing these people out in the fucking streets where they belong. But one more thing I want to say about the Jesuits, and everybody knows the name Tom Clancy. All my gamers out there, you know Tom Clancy. Tom Clancy's another Jesuit from, I think he went to BC. I don't know, but he writes about BC in his books, the books that he wrote. What's the name? I can't think of the name. Amazon has a show on it now. Anyways, in one of the books, he has a quote to the dude. Oh God, why can't I remember his name? What's the name of the guy? Anyway, the character in his book is from BC. Super athletic CIA guy. CIA's controlled Jesuits control the CIA too, but that's another topic. But CIA guy, super athletic. You know, basically, you know, modern day like Mission Impossible character. And there's a quote from the book, anyways, Tom Clancy's book, that says, "Us Jesuits secretly run the world. We're just humble about it." You know, so that's a quote from the Tom Clancy book. The other thing is, in the last video game that came out, the Tom Clancy game, there's this graffiti on the walls that says the virus is a hoax. So you know, we're getting trolled in the video games, the entertainment world. Like I said, mainstream reality. Like I said in the first video, mainstream reality is rigged, man. It's rigged. It's scripted. You know. I want to end this video with this. The scripture is the script. These people, the Jesuits, the Catholic Church, they use the Bible, the scripture, as the script, and they have us playing out this script, you know? And that's just how it goes. That's how it goes. That's what they're doing. That's why you see headlines, apocalyptic times, biblical times, all this stuff to hype up the fear, because they're running. They're running on the scripture. They use the scripture as the script. Viruses, wars, famine, you know, all created by the government puppets that they control, you know. And right now we have the second Catholic president, Joe Biden, coming in. The first Catholic president, JFK, got shot in his head in front of everybody, you know, after talking about a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy. Gee, I wonder who he was talking about. I'm glad that just went away when he got shot in the head. So we have the second Catholic president coming in. So listen, the Catholic Church runs the show. Don't buy the hype that they're weak right now, or that nobody believes in them. You don't have to believe in them. Trust me, they believe in themselves, and they got plenty of power, plenty of networking, plenty of money. They're already established in 70% of the planet, 80% of the planet they operate out of. So, you know, that's the group we need to isolate and really start honing in on and taking them down and exposing them for the frauds, for the crooks, for the criminals that they are. You know, there's plenty of solutions to the problem. I'm going to be making a podcast on solutions to all this stuff. You know, we got solutions to famine. You know, we can be eating the weeds in our yards. Dandelions are a superfood, and we spray toxic chemicals on them instead of eating them or using them for teas and stuff. We do so many absurd things. You know, the power grid's a whole other thing. I talked about it in the first episode, but there's a lot of solutions. So I don't want to just be another podcast out there that just brings more fear and hysteria to the world. I'm trying to offer solutions to it, and there's plenty of solutions, and I'll do a whole episode on solutions to these problems. But there's solutions to this stuff. I mean, exposing the information is first and foremost. Admitting we have a problem, just like any former addict will tell you, admitting you have a problem is step one. And still, most of this country, most of the world, doesn't really admit we have a problem. I mean, they know there's corruption in government and stuff, but they don't go past the surface level. They don't dive deep at all. So we need to get people to dive deep on a word-to-mouth basis, because people trust their family and friends first and foremost. So, you know, this stuff is evidence-based. It's undeniable work. You know, when you start connecting all these dots, it's really undeniable. The spider web really starts to reveal itself. Like I said, you don't even need gematria. Gematria is the icing on the cake, but like I started this video just showing you, they're all Jesuit educated. And then you got Bill Gates, the face of the world of fucking COVID-19, who ran the Event 201 simulation. You got this guy building Jesuit schools. I mean, it's wild, man. It's wild. But anyways, I'll be back with the third or fourth video on solutions to a lot of these issues, or what I think can be solutions. You know, resource-based economy, earthships, you know, stuff like that. But, you know, peace and love to all. Enjoy your day. I'll be back with more good content. If you like this, please like, subscribe, share. You can get at me at ourabnormalreality@gmail.com. If you got questions, comments, information to send me, you got abnormal stories that relate to these subjects somehow, and you want to get on the podcast and do stuff like that, I'll be doing that soon. But anyways, I appreciate the love I've been getting from people so far on the first one. Love and peace to all.